Hey friends, here we go. Just another example of the word problem in case you're feeling like we moved a little bit too quickly at the end of class today. So I am looking at the last word problem from the Desmos, which was on slide 14 in Desmos, and it is about Teddy and his leak in his sink. So Teddy has a leak in his sink. He called a plumber up from the yellow pages. Paul the plumber gave Teddy quotes for the repair. So quote is an estimate for the cost. The initial service call to check the sink is $75. So that means no matter how long this plumber stays or what the problem is, it's going to cost him at least $75 to get a plumber out there to look at it. Other keywords, plus $35 an hour. Or we talked about in class that sometimes you might see this as $35 per hour. But that means for each hour he stays, the plumber is charging $35 per hour or an hour. And this is a hint at multiplication. So we have two things. We have a $75 charge no matter what. And then we have a $35 charge per hour. So we know in our equation we're going to have those two variables, or those two numbers, sorry, not variables. So then I was getting a little ahead of myself as I looked at the question below. So it says write a function that represents the cost in dollars. So that means cost is the thing you're trying to find. Okay? And we are trying to find the cost based on the number of hours the plumber works. So here we usually write this as C of H, which means the cost based on the number of hours. So C of H equals, or maybe you would just see C equals. I'm just saying that because I think in your assessment, the multiple choice, they might not write of H. So it's totally okay to just write C equals as well, but know that the cost is based on the number of hours. So this means if we're trying to figure out how much the plumbing situation costs per hour, it's going to cost $75 no matter what, plus, in purple right there, plus $35 per hour. So that means 35 times the number of hours, and hours in this problem is H. So C of H is going to equal 75 plus 35H. So just to take a tangent to make sure we all know what that means if, say, the plumber's there for 2 hours, so that means we're trying to find the cost for 2 hours, it would equal 75 plus 35 times 2. And when we go to figure that out, multiplication comes before addition, so we would do 35 times 2 first, which is 70, and then 75 plus 70 is 145. So this function we created up here will give us the cost, 145, based on the number of hours, in this case was 2. And we could repeat and do it for anything. If I want to find the cost for 3 hours, I could do 75 plus 35 times 3, and so on. So we're creating an equation that will find you the cost when you know the number of hours. Part 2 asks you for the reverse. Teddy lost track of time and does not know how long Paul the plumber was there. So we want to write a function this time that will help him find the number of hours he was there based on the cost. So like say he found the receipt and he knew how much it cost, but he wanted to figure out how long that meant the plumber was there. So we're now trying to find H of C, the number of hours based on the cost, or shorthand you could just write H equals. So this time we are going to do the inverse of our original steps. So our original steps in our original problem was multiply by 35 and then add 75. So when we go to do the inverse, we're going to subtract 75 and then divide by 35. So where this time we're going to start with the cost, and if we take the cost and subtract the $75, well, we're subtracting out that initial fee, and then we can divide by 35 to figure out how many hours the plumber was there. Okay, so this is why this is in this unit, because we basically are using the inverse to figure it out. So we're saying here h of c was 75 plus 35h. And remember, even in this equation, because the 75 is written first, we do multiplication first. So it's multiply by 35 and then add 75. So then our inverse, we're going to do subtract 75 and divide by 35. So we have cost minus 75 divided by 35. Now, once we have our two functions, they're both used for something different. So this first function is used if we know the number of hours, because that's, right, if we know the number of hours and we're trying to find the cost. This second equation is used if we know the cost and we're trying to find the number of hours. So here, Teddy looked at his bill and saw the total cost was $285. So we know the cost, and we're trying to find the number of hours. So we can take 285, which is the cost, subtract 75, and then divide by 35. And in our fraction, even though division, right, we don't divide until we subtracted first, because we have to do the top of the fraction first. So 285 minus 75 is going to get me 210, and then divided by 35. Also, again, based on our equation here, right, we said subtract 75 and then divide. So we have 210 divided by 35 is 6. So that means it took 6 hours for the plumber to fix Teddy's leak if we know the cost was $285. So I hope that was helpful, and if you have any more questions on word problems while you're doing the homework, please let me know. See you guys soon. Bye.